Good morning everyone, Chris from Headache and Pain Management Centre here for Tuesday, and today we are talking about, this is for Casey who emailed one of the comments last week about hormonal migraines and hormonal headaches, and talking about, is it all that it seems when it comes to hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines? Because sometimes, well actually a lot of the time, the hormones are a really convenient scapegoat, when as a matter of fact the hormones have little to do with the problem. So if you are joining us, type them below, say hello, and any questions you've got along the way, please type them in, because I'm here to help you out. So when it comes to hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines, so these are defined by basically when the headaches and migraines come along. So quite often it's a couple of days before the period and a couple of days after, and somewhere around that time. So it can be a bit shorter, can be a bit longer, but basically they link it to the hormonal cycle. Now most of the time we're talking about end cycle here, so at the end and the start of the period, but at times people can be diagnosed sometimes erroneously or incorrectly around mid-cycle as well. Some people get these headaches and migraines sort of at day 12 to 16, sort of mid-cycle. Now this is the thing, and this is something that isn't really talked about much when it comes to hormonal migraines. Just seeing if you are joining us, g'day, nice to see you there. Type in and say hello. Basically with these hormonal migraines, it talks more about the time at which it comes, but it doesn't tell us anything about what might be causing it. Because here's the thing, there's this research study a number of years ago now, about 10 years ago, that was talking about hormonal migraines, and they compared people that get hormonal migraines to people who don't get hormonal migraines. So I'm talking women obviously in this case. And what they found is that the hormones, the hormonal levels in these women weren't statistically significant. They weren't any different. So we do know that with people with hormonal headache, well with just females in general I should say, what happens is that the hormones, particularly serotonin, drops at the end of the cycle at the start and then comes back up again and reaches a peak mid-cycle, then goes down again and up and down like so. Okay, and this happens in every woman. And what they found is that women with hormonal migraines and people without them actually have exactly the same pattern at exactly the same level of hormones by and large. Like it's actually no different between people who get hormonal headaches and people who do not. So it leads us to believe that perhaps it's not the migraine, not the hormones that are causing the migraines and the headaches it starts with. My apologies for my voice. I've got a bit of a sore throat actually. I've been doing a lot of talking lately. So as it talks about hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines, the hormones may not actually be the cause of these hormonal migraines and hormonal headaches. So what else could it be? So anyone who's followed my videos for a little while will know that, and if it's the first time you've seen one of these because you're a new follower, basically when it comes to headache and migraine, it's due to the sensitization process. So basically you've got a part in your brain, at the bottom of your brain, top of your spinal cord, that takes in all of the information from your head, your neck, your jaw, your sinuses, your face, a little bit from what's called the vagus nerve, a little bit from your vestibular nerve as well. And it all passes through this one area, and then it gets shot to your brain, like the big fleshy bit, for processing whether or not you actually need a headache right now or you do not. And what we know now is that when you've got a sensitization process happening in this part of your brain, that normal input starts to be determined as abnormal. Okay, so if something is sensitizing that system, then normal sort of processing is processed as abnormal. So normal hormonal changes, so when it goes up mid-cycle, down end of cycle, up mid-cycle, down mid-cycle, which is normal for all females, starts to be interpreted by your brain as abnormal when it's sensitized. Okay, so we need to find out what's actually sensitizing that system to have that normal processing to be processed as abnormal by your brain. So something is sensitizing that system so that basically the hormones are now being determined as dangerous, when as a result, in effect, actually not dangerous. There's a really good case study on this one that we saw in the clinic a number of years back where among others, this one's actually the really most obvious one. So there was a 38-year-old lady that came in who was suffering with a new onset of hormonal migraines and hormonal headaches. So if she's 38, her hormones are stable, okay? So it's too early for menopause, and obviously she's way past puberty at that time. So things are relatively stable, okay? Now the onset of this person's hormonal headache was actually a whiplash injury. So she'd been in a car accident approximately 18 months before, and for the first time in her life, she started getting hormonal headaches about a month afterwards, okay? And these hormonal headaches were coming cyclically, again, every month for the next 18 months. And basically what had happened is that she'd had all the testing done because it was all brand new, so it was a little bit weird. All the bloods, all these sorts of things, all these tests done, and they couldn't work out for the life of them what was going on. And with these new onset hormonal migraines, and as we found out as we started talking to her, she'd had a whiplash injury right about the time that these actually started. And when we assessed her neck, it was actually her neck that was sensitizing the system. So she'd had an injury with her neck, she'd had a bit of a whiplash injury. It would sensitized what we call the nociceptors in her neck. So it was sending a constant signal up to her brainstem, which was actually sensitizing her whole system. So previously her hormones weren't an issue, or they never were an issue, but they certainly weren't causing headaches and migraines to happen. So when she had her neck thing happen, basically the hormones then were being interpreted by her brain as being an issue, and she got headaches and migraines as a result after that. G'day, a few others joining in. Nice to see you. We're just talking about hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines, and that basically hormones may not actually be where the issues lie with people with hormonal headaches and migraines. So I guess the point with that case study is that even though it very much appears like the hormones are causing it because it's around that time of the month, you'd have to be Captain Obvious to realise that it's not at least related to it. It may not be the hormones themselves which are the cause, but rather the processing of what the hormones mean by your brain to actually say, hey, this is dangerous or this is not. And basically when you have a sensitized brainstem, it causes these signals to go up, be interpreted as abnormal, and whoosh, you get these hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines. One way to know that your hormonal headaches and migraines may not be from your hormones at all is to think about the location of the headaches and migraines. So if you've got a one-sided headache, okay, so if it's just on your right side, for example, if you've got a right-sided headache and it's hormonal, like in the way that the time happens, so it comes around that time of the month, you've got to think about this logically. So if you've got a hormonal headache, hormones go through your whole body, okay? So they go through, both sides of your brain. They affect, obviously it's in your bloodstream. So if it's in your bloodstream and, it's only affecting one side, it's not just affecting the blood vessels on one side of your head, it's got to be affecting both. So if you've got pain on one side, okay, then it can't really be the hormones causing that, because if it were, basically, we have seen a couple of genuinely pure hormonal migraines, and they're few and far between. It's a really explosive two-sided headache that doesn't go away, it needs some kind of other medical intervention, whether it be hormone treatment or some other thing to settle it down. But if it's on one side, or it can swap sides, it can be on the left one side, right on the other, or it can be swapping sides during the attack, then it means that your hormones are probably not the cause, and it's your neck that is the cause of it. So what you need to work out is basically, and that's a really good cheat. So if your headaches are on one side or the other side, they can swap around, but it does come on through that hormonal sort of phase, then it's worth getting your neck checked, because it's not the hormones at all that's causing it. It's actually the neck that's causing it if it's moving around. So I guess the take-home message is, if you do have headaches and migraines that happen around that time of the month, like if it's at the end of the month, or if it's mid-cycle and end cycle, which, by the way, is not hormonal either, because the hormones are at the top of its range here, bottom of the range there, so at mid-cycle, end cycle. So it's actually the opposite ends of the spectrum. So it's actually more the change in how many hormones you have in your system as opposed to the hormones themselves, which is, again, normal for females. If you've actually got these hormonal headaches and migraines, then type in hormonal below, because that'll tell us that that's something that's worth discussing with you. Given that, when it comes to hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines, it's actually rather uncommon from what we've seen here, that it's purely the hormones that are the cause of it. It's actually something else masquerading as a hormonal headache or hormonal migraine. Hope that's been helpful. So yes, if you do have hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines, think about where the pain is in your head. If you're not getting any relief elsewhere, then the neck is actually really worth checking in that regard. So if that's been helpful for you, just type in hormonal and tell us that that is you that's experiencing that, and we can send you some stuff to help that out. If you know anyone who is suffering with hormonal headaches and hormonal migraines, type in their name below to let them know that there is another way out if that's the case. And of course, like, share, comment, just to get the word out there about what it is that hormonal migraines mean when it comes to this kind of thing. Because your sharing, your commenting and your liking, it spreads the message out and allows us to help more people with these sorts of headache and pain conditions. Hope that's been helpful, and I hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back later this week with another Facebook Live video. Thank you to all of you that suggested extra topics for my videos. We've got a lot of extra topics coming. If you do have any other topics, type them in below as well, because yes, we're always looking to give great content to our audience about all the things that you care about, rather than things that we're trying to push at you, because hey, it's all about you guys and it's all about us helping you get the best out of your headache and pain condition. For now, I'm going to let you go, and I hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. And from me, Chris at the Headache and Pain Management Centre, it's bye for now.